Greetings from Michigan, Zone 6A. This is Žarko. Today is November 10th of 22. In this video, I will show you how I prepare my potting mix. In about a couple of weeks, I will pot about 60 to 70 maybe fig trees from 5 gallon to a 7 gallon. So I need enough soil when the time comes. Already made one this morning and a few more to make for today. I will show you what ingredients I'm using and the tools. First, where I'm going to make it. I'm going to use my driveway. I find that this surface works perfectly for that. If you're going to make any more than, let's say, 4 or 5 cubic feet, you can also use a cement mixer or even this compost tumbler. However, this size I find it appropriate only for about 3 cubic feet of material. Anything else is just too much for it. So for that reason, driveway is the place for me. Okay, so let me show you what I'm gonna use as my base. 2 cubic feet of each. These bags both have 2. This is garden soil from Beyond Peat. I find this brand in Walmart. Perfectly for my purposes. As name suggests, they don't have peat moss, and I'm staying away from peat moss in my mixes for the hydrophobic abilities of that media. And it's also fertilized slightly. It's not really a strong fertilizer inside. Organic. These are all organic materials. I'm only growing figs and anything in my garden organically. The second part will be pine bark mulch to increase more water drainage and air flow in the potting mix. I'm going to use pine bark mulch. If you can find pine bark mini nuggets, that would be perhaps also maybe even better, or maybe about the same. For some reason in my area, stores do not carry mini nuggets. They have pine bark nuggets. They're just too coarse. So these two are equal. About the cost, because our potting mix has to be economical too. And these two are, believe it or not, more economical than if I buy bulk material. If you find this at the end of the season, this bag from $10 goes to $3, then $2, and finally you can find it for $1. And I purchased, I don't know, maybe 70, 80 bags of it. Some of them are, most of them are in 1.5 cubic feet. Same thing for pine bark mulch. If you look for broken bags, those are the bags that have small holes. You can even bring a clear tape with you and fix those bags at a spot. They come to only $2 each. So very, very economical way to make your potting mix. Next is my compost to increase native microbiology. And I've been making this for now about, I don't know, almost 20 years. Base of this is leaf mold. Then added to it, kitchen scraps, poultry litter for my chickens when I had them. This could be, I don't know, 6, 7 years old maybe. Very well processed by earthworms. It has texture of earthworms castings. Very, very fine individual kind of granules. You're going to find also many branches that have fungal activity, which is also very good for our trees. You can see this. What else I have here? You can see eggshell is really old, crumbly. So that would be another amendment, about 1 cubic feet. I will also add a commercial mycorrhiza, a liquid mycorrhiza, but for my purposes, I love to add natural compost that we prepare at the area where we grow figs. So these have native microbiology. The next one is perlite, about again 1 cubic feet. This one is called coarse. I find it very kind of fine, maybe medium. You can also use this coarser. Maybe for larger containers this will be more appropriate, again to increase our air capabilities of a potting mix and the improved drainage. Also in my case, it's going to make the potting mix containers lighter. And you can also use pumice. Pumice is really good substitute for perlite. However, I find it more expensive in my area, so I'm using perlite, which is fine. Before you use perlite, I just have to mention this really quickly. You have to pre-treat it. By that, what I mean is when you buy a bag of perlite, and I'm going to just demonstrate this here really quickly. Just punch a holes at the bottom, even from the bottom. This one comes with a 4 cubic feet, and just give a really nice soak with a tap water to the point where the water will drain from the bottom. This is to eliminate all the dust. You do not want to breathe any material that has silica. So in this stage, when it's pre-treated, it can stay like that for very long periods of time. I find it that it's after 8 months of having pre-treated, did not become any dustier. Okay, and now the amendments. So this comes to about 5.5 cubic feet of material potting mix. The amendments, we're going to have to improve the fertility of potting mix, because trees only have so much of potting soil in their containers, so we have to make it more nutrient available for them. For that purpose, I'm going to use this organic slow release chicken poo fertilizer. I find it in my local home improvement store, Menards. It's only $10 for a 25-pound bag. Really good deal. It has also calcium and magnesium. Next is the azomite for mineral content, over 70 minerals, but especially is valuable for trace minerals. I'm not going to talk specifically more about each ingredient, or because I don't have time for that, maybe in the future videos. And then also for more calcium and to increase pH. Fig trees naturally live in areas, Mediterranean and Middle Eastern countries, where the soil is more acidic. It's a raised pH. And I'm going to just show you really quickly the measurements that I got from my ingredients here, the base materials, garden soil, and also pine bark mulch. So for pine bark mulch, my pH came at 6.53, which is just below neutral, a little bit acidic. And then for my garden soil potting mix, I was surprised to find it about 7.7 pH, so mildly alkaline, which is perfect. They're about to mix together, they come to about just 7.12 maybe, around there. So slightly alkaline, and I'm going to increase that even more by adding some of the Nutrilime. I do not overdo it. I can always alter pH later. I'm aiming for about 7.5 to an 8 maybe pH for my fig trees. I read that many people will suggest 6.5 is an ideal pH for plants to absorb. However, I find that figs are well adapted for alkaline soil, and they will better assimilate nutrients that they need through a slightly alkaline soil. Okay, I think I mentioned everything. Oh, you can also add other ingredients later maybe. I like to dress up my surface of the containers with maybe oyster shells, kind of slow release calcium. If you need it, you can also add gypsum later, green sand. Of course, I'm going to add liquid mycorrhiza. That's about it for the ingredients. And now I'm going to just show you how to prepare. It should probably come from this side. Okay. So first I'm going to just spread evenly this garden soil mix. I need to open my bags first, I guess. I open the bags at the top so I can reuse them to store my mixed material. I would suggest that you go to my friend's channel, Dan Foster. Him and his wife Shauna will show you how to prepare this potting mix on a driveway using a gas rototiller. It's kind of comical way, I find it, but it's really effective for larger quantities. I think they're making about maybe 3 yards of material. Okay, so I just want to evenly spread. You can break these larger pieces. If you find any pieces of wood, in this case I found one, you can just throw them away at this point. Okay, now the second ingredient will be pine bark mulch. Again, spread it more in the middle of a pile, and then distribute over the top, so kind of equally everywhere if you can. Using pine bark will increase our fungal activity. Many bags, the older bags of pine bark mulch, I find they contain nice amount of fungi. Okay. Next, I will add perlite, kind of equally spreaded everywhere. Again, if you do not pre-treat perlite, use mask. Mine really does not have any kind of dust. Otherwise, mask is really necessary. On the top of this, you do perlite first, so you can see exactly where you are placing compost, since it's the same color as the previous materials. All right, now let's talk about how much of a amendments fertilizer do you need. And for that, you're gonna find different numbers from different people. I find that for my purposes, I'm gonna start with about half a cup of all of these for 5 cubic feet, 5.5 cubic feet, so about 2.5 cups of fertilizer, azomite. And when it comes to Nutrilime, I'm going to add maybe just a slightly under 2, around there. I do not want to raise pH too much. I can always alter that later if I need to. I did not show you, so I use about just slightly less than 2 cups of Nutrilime. And it has both available calcium and slow release calcium and magnesium. So just kind of mix it like that in a bucket. Again, I'm gonna just move the camera. Spread it evenly. Okay, now at this point you can use this manual rototiller to kind of slightly or lightly mix this together at the top. And before you do that, I will also recommend that you moisten the surface. This is to activate all the ingredients to help that microbiology that's already in the compost. And this will really eliminate dust too farther. This tool really works well for adding amendments in the garden beds. I'm gonna do this faster. And now I'm gonna use my snow shovel. Let's see how much time I have. Okay, so first I'm gonna just mix everything in the middle. Since all of these ingredients have certain color, you can tell by color when the mix is finished how much of mixing do you want to do. Well, it depends on how much of workout you need. Like, the more the better. So now I'm gonna fold from the middle to the side. Okay, now I'm gonna fold again. I don't have enough time to show you, maybe one more. All right, I'm gonna probably do a couple more of turnings, but just wanted to show you quickly what the mixture looks like at this point. Very nice and clumpy. If you take 2 handfuls, you're gonna see that it holds the shape, but slightly pressing will dislodge all of the ingredients. And just like that, whew, that was a good workout. You have made a really good potting mix for fig trees. This is my way of doing. You can alter, you can add more or less of other ingredients. This is what I find that available in my area, and I find that it works for me. You can make it more simple. You can use basically just a store-bought potting mix and add maybe perlite and then be done with it. Figs are very adaptable. Do not worry about do not stress out too much about this. More important is that you start growing figs, and later during the years you're gonna find out what's working for you. So for now, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.